sure this is silent. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is able to hear and see us. I'm really excited about this evening session. We have Dr. Rita Ogbonna. Did I say that correctly, Rita?
You did. It's close.
Are you sure? You have to correct me. You have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm so excited to have Rita be able to join me this evening because she's a Hawk sister. So
Yes.
it's always family when I have UMES grads on. If you are watching us live and you cannot hear us and or we are staticky, um, please let me know in the comments so that I can remedy that situation. I am the founder of Resi Prep 360. My name is Sally Traore Ualaka. If you've never seen one of these videos before, the Postgraduate Info series is a series that I host. This is my second year hosting the series in the fall. And the point of it is to help bridge the gap between people that are currently completing postgraduate training and the other folks that are interested in completing postgraduate training, because one of the most consistent feedback I get is there's a lot of intimidation and people are worried about reaching out to fellows or reaching out to resident. So one of the things I try to do here is to hopefully engage with fellows and residents so that they answer some questions and you can really see that they're cool people. Like they don't bite, and you can reach out to them and engage with them to learn more about their respective programs. Welcome to the postgraduate series, Rita.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations again on finishing your PharmD and being in a fellowship program. I was at your graduation. It was beautiful. Um, I don't do bios because I love for people to kind of hear directly from you. Let's start with telling the folks a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this series. My name is Rita Ogbonna. I am a graduate from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore School of Pharmacy, and I'm currently a U.S. Medical Affairs postgraduate fellow with GlaxoSmithKline and Howard University.
Very good. Impressive. Impressive. So, I usually like to start with talking about what made you interested in industry. Like, did you always know? I think that's like the one that people really always want to know. Is it something that you had a light bulb moment about, or did you just feel like, no, I think for me, it's going to be this functional area?
That's a very good question. I was never one who kind of knew I wanted to go into industry. It
Yeah.
was something that, when you're in your final year, you're considering various options you had. And I think for me, prior to getting into pharmacy school, I always wanted to understand the
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
So I started working for a community pharmacy to understand the
Yeah.
why pharmacy. And
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, I enjoy this. And I went to pharmacy school. Also, I think a, a little bit more of my background is I also have a bachelor's, so a BSc in accounting. So to make that switch,
Oh,
yeah, to pharmacy is it was totally crazy, but
how
I wanted to.
interesting.
Swear,
That's so
I
cool.
I
That's such a that wow. But I mean, like accounting, numbers, pharmacy, they're all exact sciences. But
Mhm.
I always am so fascinated when I find out that people have like another background that they completely pivoted or something that parlayed them into pharmacy. I love that you shared that just now.
Thank you. Yes, I think it's a complete shift, and especially when I get to share this knowledge or experience with people, they're
Yeah.
totally shocked. Like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And I go, yeah, all the way back in 2014, I got my bachelor's. They're like, and how old are you?
Yeah, really.
So questions like that, I'm like, don't worry about it. But yes, it's a total, it was a total shift, and I think, just attributing that to like the people who were around me who encouraged me to like go for it.
Yeah.
So understanding the why pharmacy. I
Yeah.
had to get a job. I started working in the pharmacy, community pharmacy, to understand. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I feel like this is my path. And then I got into pharmacy school. And final year, I was between, okay, I still work at a community pharmacy. I still enjoy what I do. I also was doing rotations in the hospital. I had the ICU rotations,
Mhm.
um, but also I wanted to grow. I wanted
Yeah.
something, different. You get to experience different things and get to pick what really suits you.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm always one who I always want to learn what is new out there.
Yeah.
How can I grow my knowledge? So I was fortunate enough to know someone who was already in the pharmaceutical world. She was also a fellow then. She's also an alumni, Jumoke. So I reached out to her.
Yeah. We
Uh,
love
yeah.
Jumi.
I reached out. She's my mentor. I reached out to her and I'm like, hey, this is, I'm interested in this. And she was very helpful. Fellows are pretty nice.
Yes.
Busy schedules, but honestly, they would make time for you.
Yes.
So she sent me lots of videos, YouTube, she's like, figure out what, functional area calls you, right? Where
Yeah.
you want to go into. So I had to do my own research as well to figure out, do I want to do regulatory? I was like, I know, like, it's not like I don't want to do reg, but I just wanted something where you're still in communications with the prescribers. You're still able
Yeah.
to give out that information when it comes to either your clinical trials or late stage trials. I
Yeah.
was like, I want to do med affairs. So I think
Oh,
that's where everything came into play. And then
yeah.
to mid year, being able to network,
Yeah.
that played a big role. Yeah.
Big role. So you've touched on something really important. And the people that are watching this right now are probably going to roll their eyes because I keep talking about it so much, right? Networking. And it's such an important component that we still find people who don't make that connection. So I'm curious for you. Like you already mentioned Jumi, who we love. She's a friend of the program. But what like how did you kind of take that step? Like for you, how did you kind of start your process? Because many people, their question is, well, how do I start networking? Like it's awkward to just message people, but do you have any advice on how people can really start to cultivate their network?
Yes, it is definitely, um, I think, a bit scary where you
Yeah.
are thinking, do I just message someone out of the blue, right? Are you
Yeah.
gonna like see the message and roll your eyes? I'm like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Um, but also one thing I think people have to understand and know is the person who you're messaging was also in the same position you're in right now,
Facts.
right? So for them to be in that position, they also have to go through this. So
Yeah.
um, I think just start off with understanding what position you want to be in.
Mhm.
You have to understand that first, and doing your own research, and then
Yeah.
you reach out to people on LinkedIn. That's like one of the biggest resource we have,
Yeah.
right? Introduce yourself. Hey, I'm this. I'm a third year, second year, fourth
Yeah.
year, student, and I'm looking to pivot, or I'm looking to get into this. Do you have time?
Yeah.
Right? Do you have time? What time do you have, to, talk to me? And I promise you, they will get back to you. I have this time. What works for you, right?
Yeah.
Because, I would say we're a bit busy right now, depending on like what area and section you're in
Yeah.
currently.
Mhm.
But it's always making time for people because we are also networking, right? So
Absolutely.
also
It's
networking.
2 ways. It's
It's
2
two ways.
ways.
So yes, it is scary, but
Mhm.
one thing you should remember is that person was also in the same position you're in,
Yeah.
and people are always willing to help out and share whatever knowledge that they can. So even if they're not in the company of your interest, they would probably know somebody in the company of your interest, and be like,
Girl.
hey, hit this person up and be like,
Yes.
them. That's the key, the most important thing.
Like, I couldn't stress that enough because I tell people, like, people, if you hit me up and you're asking me about industry, I'm activating other people. I'm not an industry. Like, I didn't do a fellowship in industry, but I know other people that are in this space, that have been in this space,
Right.
and they would love an opportunity to mentor you or guide you or give you pointers, redirect you. It's really like sometimes that one conversation that could be a complete game changer, but people are genuinely scared to make the first move, and then they have their first success and it's like wildfire. Now they want to
Right.
network with everybody, you know what I'm
Everybody.
saying? Yeah.
Yep.
So just stay encouraged. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the GSK and Howard University fellowship program that you are in. I understand you guys are in the heat of recruitment season now, right?
Yes.
So please talk a little bit about the program and where or how people can learn more, so that they can explore this opportunity and I can go after them next year to come share their experience.
Absolutely. Um, yes. So I would say the Howard, program on its own, it's a very unique program. And I think one of the key things we've heard from, aspiring students who've reached out to us on LinkedIn is, there's so many applications going in right now, so many interview process going in right now. When is your when does your interview start, or when is this? When we are in recruitment season right now, and I
Yeah,
would tell them, I'll say, there's always something unique about every program.
yeah,
You never know what can happen. And I do believe like our program is there to help people who feel like they have fought so much battle. And, it's like you're about giving up and it's like, oh, here comes our program. Oh my God, my application's still there.
yeah.
Um, I think that's one of the unique things about our program. Also,
Okay.
the GSK Howard Fellowship Program is very unique on its own in a sense where it's a 2-year program. But one
Yeah,
thing that makes it very unique is we get to spend 6 months in, a hospital affiliated, organization. So I'm currently
yeah.
at Children's National Hospital in DC,
Gotcha.
6 months period. So you get to learn, the clinical aspects if you feel like you want to brush up on certain things. So
Mhm.
for me, I have rotated in different departments. I have been in IDS, which is Investigational Drug Services.
Yeah,
So when you think about like your clinical trials, that's like the department that kind of handles it. So you get
yeah,
to learn, what constitutes, this hospital, agreeing to become a clinical trial site.
yeah.
Times the trials are initiated by the providers themselves. So you get
Right.
the wonderful part of that. I've
Mhm.
also had like an admin rotation. I've had a vaccine rotation. We're in the vaccine season, right? The crazy,
Yeah.
being able to assist in rolling out these vaccines, but also thinking about the new RSV monoclonal antibody that just dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah, so being able to assist the hospital in rolling that out, but also thinking about what is our launch date, and some other like intricate information,
Yeah.
that's in that department. So we get to learn various things that is transferable
Yeah.
to the industry space. So
That's
um,
amazing.
that's what it's a very unique thing. I
Yeah.
know most people are being like, "Ah, in a hospital."
I know, I know.
I'm like, what am I doing there?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's unique because I think at first you get to stop and be like, why, the company or the hospital space is not something, everybody, finds intriguing.
Yeah.
But it's not just focused around that. You also have different departments you can rotate in,
Yeah.
gain experience, learn. Imagine helping one of the top 5 children's hospital in the country to
Country.
roll out the vaccines and
Mhm.
have them available for the kids in like the hospital. That's a
Yeah.
big thing. So
That's
it's really kind
meaningful work. That is meaningful work. That's not busy work. That is work that is going to change and make a difference in those children's lives, right? I
absolutely
think, yeah, that definitely makes the structure of your program unique. That frontline exposure, and you get to really see how some of the back end decisions are rolled out right
right.
in the trenches. That's awesome. So for the P1, I'm going to start with the P1. For the
Okay.
first year student pharmacist who's watching this because they have 30 minutes to kill and they're like, oh, look, a live session. I wonder what they're talking about. what advice do you have sitting where you're sitting now for the first year student pharmacist? What do you want that student pharmacist to learn from how the journey unfolded for you? I'm so sorry. My dog. My dog started barking like he's barking at trick-or-treaters. I'm sorry.
It's
So
today.
what advice do you have for P1 students?
That's a good question. I think I won't say I'm a cliche type of person. I studied a lot. So I won't tell you just focus on your book. Don't let anything, you know, don't let your ideas or your thoughts kind of like wander. But
Yeah.
no, I think I took time. I waited until my final year to kind of decide where I want to go into. But it's also
Gotcha.
helpful in your first year if you there are people whose minds are made up that
Yeah.
I want to do industry. That's where my focus is, and absolutely go for it. You can start right now reaching out.
Mhm.
Getting in contact with people, and also when you have time to do when there are like rotations, when it's your rotation period, those connections you've built will lead to information. So
Mhm.
you're able to, gain that pharmaceutical company experience by
Yes.
working in those spaces.
Yeah.
I know somebody who just based on rotation, they did amazing with their rotation. They're currently a fellow,
Mhm.
and it happened that their previous preceptor was the one who put in a good word for them. So
Yeah.
things like that can happen where doors are opened for you. So absolutely,
Absolutely.
if you're watching this, you're in your P1 year, focus on your studies.
Yeah.
That takes priority.
Nothing
But
nothing happens if you can't graduate from pharmacy school. It's like
nothing happened.
nothing happens. None of
Nothing
this
happened.
actually takes off. We need you to at least to be able to complete pharmacy school. So yeah, academics are important, but also keep your eye out for opportunities to branch out. Is
Yes.
pretty much what you're saying. Okay, very good. And I always ask all of you this: what's been the most challenging transition for you from being a student pharmacist? The hustle of rotation is over, all this stuff. Now you are a working person. What's been the biggest adjustment with that transition from being a student to now you're a new practitioner?
That's an amazing question. I think I would give two answers. One would be just life in general,
Yeah,
where now you are in a new space because I had to move based on having the 6 month rotation in
gotcha.
DC. So I'm somewhere in Maryland,
Yeah,
but also it's the commute in the morning.
yeah,
When you're a student, you're either living like on campus or somewhere close to campus,
yeah.
so you're not like really stressed and worried a lot.
Mhm.
But also when you come into this space, you have a lot of responsibility
Yeah,
that is on your shoulder. But also, I think one of the biggest things transitioning would be problem solving.
yeah,
As a student, the things you say in certain ways, and you're like, okay, okay, I get that. But being in a professional space, you have to eloquently word your answers in a professional way where it's meaningful and insightful, or even
mhm,
in the case where your information is not clear or you need more information to
yeah,
gather more resources.
mhm,
Being able to word that properly,
yeah,
also being able to solve problems
yeah,
in allocated time.
yeah,
I think collaboration also comes into play a
yeah,
lot. So being in school, you're working with this and that partner. When you're in this space, you have to understand that your department holds a key role to like every other department. So
yeah.
just I think one of the examples is rotating with the in an admin rotation. I was with the uh it was like the I'm calling the number two
Okay. Yeah,
of the hospital of the pharmacy department. He
gotcha,
was the assistant director, so I was with the
gotcha.
assistant director of the pharmacy department at Children's National Hospital. So having to sitting on several meetings,
Yeah,
that are very important, being with like key stakeholders, being with providers, your physicians, being with the nursing heads, being with 340B, which is like drug pricing, and
yeah,
understanding that the role you play and the results or the answers you give kind of
yeah,
trickles down to all these departments. So you have to be
yeah.
very accurate about your information in this.
Yeah, so the responsibility, right? Like understanding the magnitude of your responsibility. And I think that I promise you that you are not alone in that. Like I remember that. Like I remember being really, really freaked out that I had the responsibility of a patient's
Mhm.
life in my hand.
Yeah.
And it forces you to elevate your game. It forces you to step your game up in
Mhm.
a way you probably weren't even thinking, like that's going to be my motivation to step my game up, but you find yourself all of a sudden performing and being mindful that, my gosh, like what I say, what I don't say, what I do, how I do it or don't do it actually will have like consequences that's going to trickle down to a bunch of different people or departments. That could be really scary and really intimidating. So kudos to you that you're even recognizing that you're in that space, because that means that you're navigating, you're figuring out what you need to do so that you're showing up the way you want to be seen. I love that for you. I'm so happy for you. For people that are interested in connecting with you, how may they do that? How may they connect with you to learn more about your experience? Because again, like everything you're describing, the structure of this fellowship is different,
Mhm.
it's unique. So some people may not feel like our little conversation was enough and they want to connect with you directly to learn more. How can they do that?
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn with my name, Rita Ogbonna, and I will pop up. And do not be scared to send me a message. I may take a day. I apologize.
They're busy.
um, to get to it, but I definitely will respond to you. And whatever conversation you want to have, I will be willing and happy to have it. If you feel like you have interest in either some other department, or
Mhm.
and you want, you're not sure how to reach out, and I definitely have colleagues
Yeah.
who'll be more than happy to talk with you, and also to share their experiences and knowledge as well. So do not be scared to hit me up. Send me a message.
That's so sweet.
Yes.
She's so sweet. I can speak from my own experience in telling you that she's incredibly responsive on LinkedIn. I messaged her cold turkey, and like that same day, she's like, "Yes, send me this link. I'll book a date. Here's the headshot. Here's this." So I can speak and tell you with absolute certainty that she's incredibly responsive. And Rita's legitimate, like really, really sweet. If you
Uh,
meet her or if you talk to her, like she's really, really sweet. I promise you, she won't be one of those that just won't be transparent and tell you how it is and guide you. In my experience, like people who've had really great mentorship experience, they are eager to pay it forward. They're like looking for an opportunity to do the same for someone else. And I'm so, so happy that you brought up Jumi, because Jumi was like my heart. Like, I'm not going to say was. Jumi is my heart because she's still just a message away. But I
yes.
remember when she was going through her process and how close we communicated through the entire process. And she's such a sweetheart. I'm so happy to see that you guys connected and she was so instrumental and helpful when you needed somebody to be that for you. Guys, thank you so, so much for joining the live. I'm kind of excited. This was really well attended, Rita. You brought out the people. Uh,
Really?
thank you again. And please have a wonderful evening and keep us posted about your progress and everything you're doing. I'm at Howard now, and you're around in DC somewhere.
Wow.
We need to do something and connect or something. I'd be happy to connect. And I don't know. We're both at Howard indirectly,
I know
directly
that is.
somehow now. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely connect.
Okay, very
We'll
good.
definitely. I'm not far off. I'm like
And
seriously.
exactly. You're literally up the road at Children's. You're literally up
Absolutely.
the
Oh,
road.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Rita. And
Thank you.
everybody, please have a wonderful evening. And I'll see you for our next series.
Thank you. Have
Bye.
a good evening.
You too. Bye.